So, good morning everyone. I'm Reverend Sally Bailey and I'm taking my 1 hour of exercise this morning in St Margaret's churchyard. I'm here with my husband, who is part of my household, and my dog, and anyone else who wanders in will be keeping at 2 meters distance, and they're doing their own 1 hour of exercise for the day. Thank you so much for joining us. Today, we want to celebrate all that has been happening in this churchyard over the last 3 years. It seems like a long time ago since I sat on this bench and recorded a message that shared the vision that we had for the churchyard and for turning it into a community space for the whole of Edgware. You may remember, if you saw that little video clip or you were involved in the consultation that we had back in 2017, 2018, that we wanted to create a more biodiverse area here for nature. We wanted to increase the planting, have wildflowers, and there was a plan that was drawn up that we consulted on, and Maureen's got some slides that she's going to share with you that show some of the things that we were hoping to do on that plan. And I'm really pleased to say that all the things that we hoped to do were done, apart from one, when nature got in the way and wouldn't let us. But Maureen's going to show you a plan there of what we were hoping to do. The first slide with the consultation. Yeah, there we go. So this is our community space, which you can see is actually a huge space all around St Margaret's Church. And we had lots of plans for making it much more accessible, for widening the paths, for making it inviting and turning it into a sanctuary. When I first came to St Margaret's, we discerned that God was calling us to be a sanctuary, connecting people with God's love and hope. And so we've been working really hard, both on the inside and the outside space, to make it a sanctuary where people want to come, where people feel safe coming. And so what I'm going to do today is sort of walk the course. We're going to do everything that we would have done if you'd all been here. We're going to cut the ribbon. We've got some Prosecco that has been on ice that we will do right at the very end. And we want to celebrate and say thank you to all the people who are involved in this project. And I want to start before anything by saying thank you to our gardening team, who really were the inspiration for all of this. About 6 months after I arrived here in the parish, I was called to a meeting with the gardening team. And I'd been warned that Maxine was quite a voracious character. And what I discovered was that she was really, really passionate about this space. She was really passionate about nature and about preserving this and making this the best space it could be. And so I caught some of that passion and carried that forward into the project that then became a 3-year project to turn it into the wonderful space that it is today. So I want to give a big shout out to Maxine and the gardening team, who've been working hard on this space a long time before I ever got here. And they gave us the inspiration to believe that actually this space could be so much more. And it was somewhere that people would want to come and spend time and really connect with nature here. So I want to say thank you to Maxine, to Jenny, to Catherine, to Esme, to Colin, to all of those who have been working hard in this space for so many years. So we are going to move now down to the front, where I'm going to cut the ribbon, and then we will go on a tour and I will show you all the wonderful things and highlight all the wonderful people who have been involved in this project over the last 3 years. Okay, so let's go back to full screen so that you can see me. Here I am with my pair of scissors. We have got a ribbon that has been put across the path to the front. We've actually got the dog guard around the camera so that nobody can come within 2 meters of my monitor. And so now I have sharpened my scissors and I am going to cut the ribbon and I am going to say that this churchyard is this community space is when we did the test yesterday, I thought I might need to cheat and actually cut it beforehand, but I didn't. So we are really excited about all that has been happening here. We're going to show you some of the features, but I would just say that if you live in Edgware and you live within walking distance and you want to take 1 hour of exercise and come this way, this is what you will find. So we have lavender plants that have been planted all the way along the front here. And this was a really important part of trying to absorb the fumes that come from the road, because many of you will know that St Margaret's is right on this very busy road. We've just got a bus coming on queue. St Margaret's bus stop is there, and the bus is currently obliterating the view of the Railway Inn, which is another of the landmarks in the centre of Edgware. But this is where we are, and every day hundreds of buses stream past and cars stream past. Even in this lockdown period, we have so many buses coming around, so I hope you can still hear me above the traffic noise. But one of the things that we wanted to do was plant lavender all the way along the front here to absorb the pollution. And we were very grateful that the second Edgware Scout helped us to plant the lavender, and we had all of them come down one Wednesday evening and they planted 100 lavender plants along the front forest. And I'm really pleased. That actually happened last May. And the lavender has survived. I weeded all along here yesterday, and there's some really healthy growth coming from the lavender. And it's wonderful to see that this is now the front of our church. A lot of you who've lived in Edgware for a long time will remember there used to be a really high wall here, and it was all closed off. Well, the wall fell down, and so we had to take it down, and now we have this very a little low retaining wall and lavender along the front here. One of the other things that came in quite early on was the Tommy figure, which the Tommy figure is part of the 100th year commemoration of the end of the First World War. And you can see the outline traced of the Tommy figure against the background of the church. And so this was very kindly provided by the Friends of St Margaret's, a small charity that was formed with some local trustees, and money raised, kindly donated to pay for the Tommy figure, who has been standing here proudly since October 2018. It's a very interesting design in that it's made from aluminium, and it's the outline of a soldier with his pack. And in fact, when the very high winds, we noticed that Tommy had blown over and we stood him up again. Sadly, last week, somebody tried to vandalise our Tommy, and they'd obviously taken a boot to it, and he was lying and he was all out of shape. But I'm pleased to say that we've managed to get him back to looking how he should do, because the design is that aluminium is a very durable product, and we were able to put him back into the shape that he should be. So we are still waiting for our grant to install CCTV so we can try and minimise some of the antisocial behaviour that happens. But we're really pleased to have our Tommy figure still standing, and a big thank you to the Friends of St Margaret who provided the funding for that. So I think Maureen has got some pictures of the Scouts planting lavender that she's going to show. Well, we just move up to the next feature. the next feature that I wanted to highlight is the sundial, which has been installed. So I'm now standing on the wall just in front of the sundial. Now this is a feature that we haven't even realised had existed in the past. But when Kendra on Groundwork started researching to create the design for this whole project, she discovered on an old map of the area that there used to be a sundial here. And so she said, would you like the feature reinstated? I said, well, why not? I was going to afford it. Well, you know, somehow God always provides. And one of our members, Maureen White, said, I've got the base of the sundial in my garden. Would you like it? And so we said, yes, we would. Then came from Maureen's garden. And then Maxine said, I've got the head top of a sundial in my garden. Would you like it? And so we have placed in Maureen's garden, and the top came from Maxine's garden, and it was installed. And on the same day, this is the south facing, so we get sun around here all day long. And it's been positioned pointing in the right way, and it says it's just gone 11 o'clock, which I think is right. So that's a new feature which you can see at the front of the church when you're passing. Okay, so let's take a walk down the front of the church along the pavement to the entrance to Truth Hall. I'm really excited about the fact that we have 82 metres of frontage onto Station Road. There are many vicars of churches that are down little lanes and tucked away that would love to have the profile that we have here on the front. And we have our notice boards so that people can see what's going on, how they can join us on Zoom. And we see different posters there with all the buses coming past. We have amazing visibility because this church has been here for centuries. Centuries. It has been the centre of Edgware, it's been the focus of the community. So we're really pleased that we take advantage of the position here. And as you'll see, there's one of our notice boards, and it has a beautiful poster encouraging people to be still and take a breath, to be in this moment, because your God is a mighty warrior who goes before you. He will not give up on you. He is here right now. His love surrounds your every breath. So let's go. Breathe. Rest in the peace of your Saviour. And that sums up our vision for this whole community space, that we want people to come here and to breathe deep and to breathe fresh air, air that has been filtered by our lavender plants, and find rest in this place. So we're going to go down to the entrance to Truth Hall, which is one of the areas that a lot of people as they walk up Station Road will see first. And we've got some before and after pictures here. Because this used to look a bit of a mess at the front entrance here. If Maureen puts the slide up, you'll be able to see what it used to look like. So it used to be really tatty with uneven paving, with just gravel on one side. And you can see there the picture of the transformation. And if we just bring the camera around, you'll be able to see. We have some beautiful paving here, which is now really welcoming. And it's really enhanced the entrance to Truth Hall, which is used to be the old school building. So this used to be a school building, the only school in Edgware back in 1900s, so 1962 I think it was. And it's a tiny building, but it used to be still used for the community. And what we've done is, with this paving, we've opened it up and made it much more accessible, much more inviting. We used to have a huge hedge, and when we invited the Diocesan Advisory Committee to come and have a walk round and explained all our plans to them, we really want to get rid of this hedge. Somebody suggested just chop it down and see what happens. Well, John, we took your advice, and look, it has grown back into a beautiful hedge. Let's go and have a look at that. So, the hedge is looking healthy. here. It's at a height now that we can manage. It's at a height that allows people to see as they go into Truth Hall. They can get a view of this beautiful community space. And also you can see we put in a new bin here so that if people are coming in and put snacks with them, they can put rubbish in the bin. What I would say is if you are visiting this community space in the next few months, if you can take your rubbish home with you, because our staff are all on furlough, so we don't have anyone to come and empty the bin. So please do take your rubbish home with you if you come and visit. During the 1 hour of exercise, keep it 2 meters apart. So let's head up the path now. So this is the way that many people enter into our space. And this path was already very wide, so we didn't need to this path. But what we did do was some the church. Maureen, perhaps you could show the before picture of what the entrance to the church used to look like, and then we can get close and show them what it looks like now. Okay, so the next slide. Yay! Oh, back one. That's it. No. Hang on, have I missed something? Go back. There should be one next about the entrance to the church. Yeah, there we go. That's it. Right, so the church entrance used to look like the picture on the left of your screen, where the path just went all the way to the door, and there wasn't much space out the front, and we just had the one bench there. And you can see the picture on the right of the screen is what it looks like now. So let's go to the next. Okay. So you'll see we have this beautiful design in the brickwork that was installed by Grateford Gardens. Yes, I'm just checking I've got my slides right. Yeah, Grateford Gardens did all the hard paving for us. It was a 6-week project that took place last October, November. And they've done some amazing work with the paths to join everything up. We used to be able to walk around from one side of the church, but we weren't able to walk around and join the paths up around the back. And so we have this beautiful design of brickwork, which picks out the red bricks, which pick out the red of the front door. And then we have the grey block work around that. Let's see if we can get a bit closer and you can see that. And so the grey picks out the edging stones, and it's the same colour as the wall at the front. So it's a beautiful design, and we're back to the bench. Slightly new, and you can see that there's much more of a courtyard feel here. So we have, when we do get back to having services here, I can imagine the whole wedding parties being here to have their photos taken, and there's enough space to gather. And when we do get back to having public gatherings, we'll be able to have afternoon tea out here as well, which was part of our plan. So let's just have a look at how some of those paths connect up down the side, and some of the new benches that we have put in. So this was a real amazing surprise in this project. This used to be a very narrow path, and it really was a non-space. It was a space you would never look at. It was just never used. And because we widened the path here, we suddenly discovered we had another little seating area. So they said, when they said, where should we put a bench? I said, let's put a bench here, because from here we've got a beautiful view of the street. You can just see life going by, or buses, people getting off the buses. Just life is happening here. And we've got some tabs with as well. And again, I've seen people sitting here and eating their lunch. And it's just a really nice spot away from the road, but still very visible, and a new resting area within this community space. So let's carry on on our tour. Good. Good. Right. Okay. And so the other real inspiration of these parts is that this path now invites you to go and explore the church. And so all of this new paving here allows us to connect up with a path that was already around the back of the church, but we had no way of connecting with it. So again, this makes it much more accessible. It means that people can do a whole loop. So we're going to go now and have a look at a new board that has been installed. I'm just giving direction. So we are now back at the front of the church, and you'll see the tower in the background, and there's the front door. Okay, and here is a new board showing the whole of Edgware, Margaret's community space, sanctuary for Edgware. And you can see that we've highlighted all the features in the churchyard which people might want to go and explore. We have 22 war graves here, remembering our fallen heroes. We'll come on and have a look at the memorial cross, the bench, the bug hotel, all these wonderful features. And so I am really grateful to Nature Sign Design and Anne up in Cheshire, who produced the boards for us, and we just had them delivered this week so that we can get it all in and ready for this opening. And so when you come down in your 1 hour of exercise, keeping 2 meters apart from anyone else, you will see where you can walk around down to the memorial cross and then round the imaginary path. The paths are all grass paths, and so wherever there is a flat grass space, then you can walk through. But we do urge you to take care, the same as you would as if you're walking across a field in the countryside, that there may be bumps and ridges and dips, and so just take care. And if you bring your children down here, please do supervise them at all times. Okay, so I'm absolutely delighted with this board, which highlights the features, and it really encourages people to explore as we look down to the memorial cross. And again, this is one of the things that has changed quite considerably. There used to be a very narrow path, and I think we've got a picture of how the path used to look. It was a single paving stone. Maureen, I think the next slide. The other one after that. Yeah, there we go. So this is what the path used to look like, but now it's really wide and inviting. You could certainly put a wheelchair down there, and it invites you to explore some more. Okay, so let's just move a little way so that we can see the new fencing. Okay, so one of the things that we discovered when we were looking at the perimeter of our community space was that there were gaps in the fencing, and there was quite a dangerous gap over behind that tree, and there's a huge drop down into the car park behind the flats there. And so we separated out various aspects of the project so that we could get the quick wins. And I thank you very much to Paul Roos from Groundwork, who was an absolutely amazing project manager who managed to get all of these little bits done in the last year since he was appointed. And so Berry Garden Company put in the fence for us, and also planted new hedge saplings along the front there, and also down by Truth Hall. So thank you very much to Berry Garden Services for their work there. And I'm pleased to say that the hedge plants are growing well. I've been around and inspected them all, and they all have green shoots, green leaves on coming. It will take a while for them to really establish and to fill in green in front of those fences, but hey, this is all going to be here for a very long time. And so this is really good investment for the future generations to enjoy the space. So we're going to move down and see what else we can. So halfway down the path, we have the next board, and this one is trees and flowers. We have about, I'm trying to remember, I think we've got about 20 trees here in the churchyard around the whole space. And we had 4 new trees donated from the Trees for Sacred Spaces campaign back in 2017. And so we have one of the new trees is just over here. I'm not sure if you can see that because it's very, there. That one is, I think, the wild cherry. So it has some blossoms on. We had a new rowan, and we had a bird cherry and a strawberry tree, which is a little bush. And so we thought it's really important that people understand what to look for when they come around this space. And so we have a board here provided by Nature Sign Design, which shows you the yew tree, the common oak, the rowan, the wild cherry, the bird cherry, and we have a purple plum as well, and the Lawson cypress, which is on the far side of the church that I can just see from here. We also have a wonderful array of wild plants and plants that are native to this country that grow in this space. And so this board shows you some of the main plants that we have, so that when you go around and you see something, you can work out what it is, which is very helpful because I'm not that knowledgeable about plants, I have to say. I do know what a primrose looks like, and I know the lavender. Oh, and cow parsley. We have masses of cow parsley when it's in season, which is part of the wild areas that we have. So some areas we keep mown, some areas we let the wild plants come up, so that you get that feeling of really being close to nature and imagining how this would have been years and years ago when it was still a field. Let's move on down. So here we are with the pot, which is a feature in the middle of the community space. Now, we discovered that the paving around this area was really unsafe. Every 5 years, every church and churchyard has a big survey done. And when our quinquennial, our 5-year survey came back, all of this paving around here was really higgledy-piggledy. It was a real mess and it was very unsafe. Now, some of you may know the history behind this monument. Back in 1907, there was a terrible flood in Edgware that flooded the crypt underneath the church. And so the remains that had been buried in the crypt under the church had to be removed and reinterred. And so there was a big ceremony, and all the remains were reinterred underneath this feature. So they were interred, and this beautiful cross was put on. And it has this interesting base, which is octagonal. And we did think about whether or not we should take the base away and make this like another little courtyard and put benches around the outside. And then somebody very sensibly said, Hallie, don't you realise this has been designed so that you can sit on it and look out in any direction around this space? So we said, okay, we'll leave it as it is. We'll just do the paving. And so we put tenders out, and it was PAYE, who are specialists in renovation and restoration projects, particularly working in graveyards and other major projects. I think I heard say that they were working on relocating remains for projects like HS2 and St Pancras when that was developed. And so they were specialists in this work, and they did amazing work to move. These stones were so heavy. They had Hamad, you're in the picture. So Hamad's just checking the phrase. So, they took up all these really, really heavy stones and laid them really carefully. And then they put a new foundation down, and then they laid all the stones back in exactly the right place. And it's now all totally level and totally safe to walk upon. So big shout out to PAYE, who are specialists in this work of renovation, working with these really heavy stones. So thank you to them for that. So now we can get here and we can walk around this really safely. And so this is where we decided to put another one of our boards in. So let's go and have a look over here. What we have over here is a board which shows the birds and the butterflies that have been seen here. Because part of the reason that we are doing this project and putting our flowers and vegetables and everything else in is to encourage the wildlife to make their home here. And so we have birds like the jay are often seen here, the blue tit, the grey tit, magpies, which are actually really beautiful when you see them close up. And of course the robin, and you hear the beautiful bird song. Maxine has put up some bird feeders here to encourage more birds to come. And then we have all these beautiful butterflies that have been seen here, and the honeybee, which takes pollen from the wildflowers. At the moment, the wildflower patch doesn't have much going on in there, but of course, we're just at the very start of the season. We've got beautiful daffodils, which you'll see around. There are primroses, there are forget-me-nots that are out. And there's lots more that is going to come up. We were given some wildflower seeds by Kew Garden when they had their Grow Wild campaign. And so we've still got more wildflower seeds that will be going in as we develop little plots where there are no stones. We can actually plant more flowers. So how do we get? You always used to be able to get to as far as this, but we had a problem in that there was no way of going from here, explore the rest of the space. And so when we were consulting about this, about what can we do to really open up the space, we were told that if we took the right permissions and if we publicised the fact that we were going to do so, we would be able to move the grave markers from one position to another, as long as we kept a record of that, and we do have a very detailed record, so that we were able to move stones and then open up so that we could actually walk all around. And so there was a huge job to move, I think about 22, some small, some larger stones that needed to be moved to make a safe path around this space. And so AC stonemason Colin and his lads have been working here. It seems like they've been working here for 2 years. It's actually about 12 months since they started. But what you'll see is that they had to bring in some really heavy lifting gear in order to be able to move the most critical stones so that we could get this path going. And so there's a picture of Colin and his lads with this huge contraption that allowed them to lift up and move these grave markers. Nothing was disturbed below ground, and we know exactly where all the grave markers are. So should anybody want to come and visit and say, I want to know where my family grave is, we can show them exactly where the grave plot is and exactly where the stones are that provide the memory for that family. Colin and AC Stoneworks have also done some amazing restoration, which I will show you. One of the graves they've restored, which is around the front when we've finished our tour. So let's go on a little wander around now, and I'll show you how easy it is now to be able to walk all around and join up with that path that we saw down by the front of the church. So in this area here, we have a wood pile that is started under the oak tree there. Wood pile makes a wonderful home for bugs and beetles and such creepy crawlies. This particular area of the churchyard, we're letting the cow parsley grow up, and that will be a sea of white flowers in a few months. We've put another bench in here. So again, you get a great view of the cow parsley from here, and we're a long way from the road. It really is quiet and really peaceful. I can hear birds singing. Yeah, beautiful, really beautiful. So last summer, I found some people had put a rug down in this space and were having a little picnic. Now we've provided a bench so that they can sit. So here we go. We have a compost zone. Probably know the council is doing things at the moment. We're very grateful for the compost heap where we can put our grass cuttings. And we have a vegetable patch, actually, so just past the vegetable patch, which is here. You can see that some in it. But we have a patch here where I can see onions growing, with beetroot in there, and some things that have just come up from last year. And then there's potato growing going on here as well. Flowers. Oh, and here's one of our trees. I don't know if you can see that. Beautiful blossoms. Okay. We have a bird bath, which somebody donated to us. I think that was Jenny, wasn't it? Jenny gave us a bird bath. All these lovely birds. There's water in there as well. Oh, the bug hotel. That's in this corner. You know, when I first heard of a bug hotel, I thought they were having fun. But no, a bug hotel is a real thing. So, on one of the oldest trees in this space, we have a bug hotel that has been put in. And I was looking yesterday to see if anybody. We've definitely had some spider guests in this bug hotel because half of it is covered in spiders' webs. But lots of creepy crawlies and things will come and check in and maybe hibernate in there, maybe lay their eggs in there. So we are declaring the bug hotel is open for all the creepy crawlies to come and check in, lay some eggs, rest a while. So we have the first bit of and we have a yes. Let's go and have a bog garden. Again, when they told me that it was a bog garden, I thought you had one, but no, we really do have a garden here, which is called a bog garden. And the history behind this is that the space between these two stones always used to flood. And so somebody thought, maybe we should have a pond. And we're like, no, you can't have a pond in the churchyard. So we said, okay, can we have a bog garden? And so we have a bog garden. So there is no standing water there now, just lots of lovely plants that really thrive in the damp, wet conditions. So maybe that's an idea for your garden. If you've got a damp patch where nothing seems to grow and it always floods, perhaps you can have a bog garden. And there's something called water mint that has been planted here, and other plants, orange field plant, some unpronounceable Latin names that look really nice and obviously thrive in this wet area. And so that's another innovation, providing habitat. We may find that if we get some frogs coming this way, they will be able to nestle into the wet soil and revive themselves. So another wonderful idea from Maxine and the gardening crew, one of whom you can see in the background there with her mask on, doing her 1 hour exercise, keeping 2 meters. When we watch this back in a few years' time, we'll be wondering, why would she keep saying that? Down to the nice open spaces. Yeah. Oh, another shout out to Grateful Gardens who put in the benches for us, as well as doing all the hard paving. And from here I can see right across to the memorial cross, and all the beautiful daffodils around, and hear the birds. I'm sure I'm making you all really jealous and want to come down here now, but remember, only in your exercise period. And keep in here we are, just doing a 360 of what I can see from here. Wonderful. Okay, so we're going to carry on and show how we mix up with the path that we were on earlier. Like up and down, going over the fields. Connected up with the path around the back of the church, and we can explore the path here. And the steps come up, take us to join up with another path that we've created. Okay. Oh, the master's pointing out I've missed the strawberry bush. Yeah, here we go, who remembers? There we go. This is the strawberry bush here, strawberry tree that was put in because we had a hole in the hedge here. So I thought, what can we put in there? And the strawberry tree. Yeah. Well, there. I've tried that. And the sun is coming over the top of the church to that plant. Okay. So again, we can find our way through the station. We have one of our wall plates against here, remembering Thomas John Boyce, who was killed in active service in 1941, aged 22 years. That's the one that's been restored there. And there's a little trophy there with Tom written on it. So that's the white grave back there, nestling in the hedge.
Now you should be able to hear chat.
But I was trying.
So this area here, you know, there were some disappointments in a project. Well, we had a bit of a disappointment when it came to this area of the churchyard, because when we were doing our survey and consultation, we discovered that we had Japanese knotweed here, which is really nasty stuff and has to be dealt with. Let's go a bit further. So we have this wall alongside the edge of our space here, and sadly we couldn't do what we planned to do with this. We were hoping to put some arches in front of this and have some artwork. We were consulting with Edgware Primary School, and we got them to do some lovely drawings about what sanctuary meant to them. And unfortunately, we weren't able to put the feature along here because we have an area that is still cordoned off whilst treatment has been taking place to eradicate the Japanese knotweed. I'm really pleased to say that I can't actually see any of the plants coming through, any knotweed. So I'm really hoping that, having been treating this space over the last 3 years, that it has now been eradicated. But of course, we're playing safe, and we will leave that cordoned off until we're absolutely sure that there is nothing left there. Many people will recognise Railway Inn opposite, and to the front of the strip house better. Okay, so let's carry on around, and we're going to just go have a look at so we have here a huge tomb with the family of Charles Day, who was he was actually that made book polish. But he was a very wealthy person who was very generous. And part of his legacy was to build the alms houses on Stone Grove in Edgware. This is his family tomb here. Sadly, the railings are in need of repair, but this ironwork is really, really expensive to do. And I know that Neil Price, who is a distant relative of Charles Day, has been trying to do some fundraising and get together some money to repair these railings. So that again is an ongoing project. I just wanted to show you this particular which has been renovated by Mason Stoneworks. This used to be this dark stone, looking really, really weathered. And it's amazing what can be done when these are polished. So the stones around the outside were ground off, polished up. This it's amazing because so these stones have been here more than 100 years.
It's her own. Yeah, you can't do anything.
Someone who knows what they're doing. So you can see now. To do all of this. Well, of course, to get a grant of almost £20,000 from the Mayor of London's Green City Fund, which helped fund a lot of it. We also had legacy funding from our very generous former church members who left a legacy, and so we spent about £55,000 on doing this project as well as from the Mayor's Fund. And so some people I forgot to mention earlier, Finchley Nurseries, who provided the lavender plants for us at cost. I've mentioned Berries, who did the fencing. We've mentioned AC Stonemason. Grateful Gardens, who did all of the hard paving work and put in the new benches. We have, oh yes, CSG Usher, who did the tree maintenance for us at the beginning. Because one of the problems was with all our trees, they'd grown down very low and it was very dark. And so by just doing regular maintenance on the trees, we managed to lighten the clear and get more light so that more plants would grow onto the trees. And also a big shout out to Greg Lyson, who is the contractor who does all of the grass mowing at the front of the churchyard. The gardening team maintain the north side, and Greg does all the mowing and trimming on the south side. So thank you to Greg for all his hard work. Also, one of the things that we did to try and make this space more inviting and safer was to install better lighting outside, and CES Lighting and Electrical put in the lights both inside and outside the church for us. And so we now have these beautiful lanterns. I don't know if you're able to see them. On the side of the church. There we go, yes. You can just see on the corner of the church there, one of the lanterns. So there are two, there's one on the other side as well. And so these are on a timer from inside the church. And we also have a floodlight on the tower, so that if you're coming round at dusk, you will find that there is light in this area. So it does make it safe. Wow, that's amazing. I feel exhausted just telling you all about it, but there's been so much going on, and there have been so many people involved. And I'm just so grateful to Groundwork, who drew up all the plans for us, and for Paul, so for Sandra, who's the project manager for Groundwork, Kendra, who did the design, Paul was, who was the project manager, who worked with all the contractors. I mean, I haven't told you half the stories about the difficulties that we came across with just getting deliveries, and the tons of material that was in and out of the space, and how we actually managed to get that done. But that's a story for another day. Today is all about celebrating and saying thank you to all the people who are involved, all the people who made this possible. And yeah, it's just amazing. And I want to thank also our Diocesan Advisory Committee, who were right behind it, who understood the missional impact of having a space around the church that people will come into and can use. And so thank you to Archdeacon John and the team there, who really encouraged us and gave their support for us to be able to do all of this work. So I am going to take a breath, and I wonder whether Maureen or Jayshree, if you could open Archdeacon John's microphone if he's still with us, so that he can say a few words if he'd like to, whilst I just get the glasses and the bottle ready. Yeah, here's somebody. Okay, so one of the things that we do when we celebrate, as well as cutting the ribbon that I did earlier, we often celebrate by sharing some present stuff. So I have a bottle here. It's been in my fridge overnight. And just to signal the end of my hour of exercise in this community space, and say thank you to everybody who is involved in making this possible, to encourage anyone who lives in Edgware, who is in walking distance, who when they take their hour of exercise would like to come down, have a wander around. Please do keep your 2 meters distance from anybody else. Please do take your rubbish home with you if you can. If you see something that needs putting in the bin, then please do pick it up and put it in the bin. And if you'd like to, when things get back to normal, come and join the gardening team, plant some vegetables, some more flowers, do a little bit of gentle reading or swimming, you would be most welcome to come and join us. But for now, thank you to everybody. The community space around St Margaret's Church is now open, and well done to everybody who's involved in this. It's been an amazing 3-year journey to transform this space into a welcoming sanctuary for people to come and sit and rest, to connect with God, to find hope, and enjoy the beautiful creation that we have here. So thank you very much for joining us today.
Linda here, just very well done there, Sally. It's been a fantastic tour. I just wouldn't have realised all this was going on.
Well done, Sally.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sally. Congratulations, St Margaret's. Congratulations, God bless you all.
Thank you. Cheers.